Yes, we're at the Ute-Ulay Mine.
Welcome to Lake City Adventures. The Ute-Ulay Mine was established in 1873 on the edges of the beautiful and majestic Hinson Creek Canyon. This complex is located 3.6 miles southwest of Lake City, Colorado. Lake City was created by the mines of Hinsdale County, and part of our family's mission is to preserve not only the mining history in this area, but also our family's history and legacy attached to this land. Someone who spent loads of time on this property is my dad, George. Not only did he work in and around the mines of Hinsdale County, but he was a caretaker for this site for more than 30 years. Dad and I are here.
I guess we're here. It's kind of windy out here. I'm cold.
Yeah, we thought we would do a little bit of a walkthrough here and just talk about some of the old historic buildings. And Dad knows a lot more background than I do, so I thought between the two of us...
Not much. I told you everything about it, so you know as much as I do.
Well, let's just walk through and see how it goes, huh?
Okay.
So
There's a lot of storage for...
This right here, Dad's saying, was the caretaker's house, and next to it was really just a storage / workshop type.
Yeah, I don't know what all they done yet. It was storage for a lot of years. Lap table in there. Lap was a big separating gold and silver. I think it's still in there.
Wow. How about that structure up above? Up above with the woodworkings. What's that?
That's the head frame for the shaft. That had the man skip and the buckets that brought the ore out of the mine up and down about 400 feet. The galvanized building is a hoist house. That had the hoist motor and still does. It's still complete.
So there's a shaft there, huh?
Yeah, that head frame, all that log structure is what they called the head frame. Thanks to the county, it got rebuilt.
Oh, okay.
That thing was ready to fall down. A lot of it was falling down.
Well, that's awesome. I love that.
The county got some grant money or something and had it all restored. So it's back almost looking original.
That's awesome. Here's a little map of the walking tour if you wanted to take a walking tour of the area. There's the lower trail and the middle trail and the upper trail. And a cool sign made by our friend Mike. Signs by Mike. That's a good one. Long before this mining camp was built, this was the home of the Ute people, and I think it is important to remember who loved this place first. Progress and the dreams of striking it rich brought prospectors here, followed by miners and merchants, and Eureka! Lake City is born. And Dad, this canyon used to be full of water because of the dams. You can see the dam.
This canyon wasn't. The one above the dam, that was all full of water as far as you can see.
Okay, hang on, let's see. So
that was full. This never was real full other than it backed up from the hidden treasure dam.
Okay. So that dam right there, there was water behind it all the way up. It filled that whole area up. And they used, I'm guessing, that pipe there for some of their hydroelectric stuff.
Yep,
and
that was the old flume line that went to the mill.
It went all the way down.
It powered all the turbines and stuff.
Between 1874 and 1903, the Ute-Ulay Mine was a roller coaster of boom years and times of struggle. The initial development on this site revealed high-grade ore, mostly lead and silver, and the deeper they dug, the better the ore got. Deep, hard rock mining is the epitome of hard work. Unfortunately, they lacked money to work the site. The first major investors in the operation were the Crooks brothers. You may recognize the name, as there was also a smeltering operation owned by these brothers on the Lake Fork of the Gunnison River, and this spot is now known as Crooks Falls.
Mining technology was advancing rapidly during this time, and in 1882, Crook's Mining and Smeltering Company reinvested in the Ute-Ulay Mine by constructing a larger, more capable milling complex. It was at this time the dam was constructed to meet the rising energy needs. Water held by this dam provided hydro and steam power for the mining operation. This Ute-Ulay Dam and the Lower Hidden Treasure Dam have stood the test of time.
How about that? Let's see if I can get to it. That kind of round water. Is that a water tower? A water tank?
The wooden round one is the water tank. That supplied all the water to the mill. The metal tanks were added after the fact, but they were for water because the one tank, the wooden tank, would not keep up with the supply of water needed for the milling. So they added them other tanks.
And you've got this, like, it looks like a roller coaster kind of track right there. What is that? Do you see that?
That pumped the tailings out of the mill, clear up the tailing pond above, clear up above the dam area up here. The whole line, that was the tailings, pumped the tailings out of the mill.
And the tailings just kind of accumulated back there?
Back
on the other side of the dam, or what?
They had the ponds, the tailings ponds.
Oh, okay.
And they'd run it out there and it'd settle out. They were thinking, a lot of it didn't. But it worked for a lot of years.
The environmental impact of mining cannot be ignored, and in the early 2010s, there was a significant reclamation project that was completed on this land, which helped to mitigate the hazards caused by the tailings ponds. That began the regrowth and restoration of the land, and although the land is still recovering, it's looking better and better with every passing year.
So how about, is there anything that was here that isn't anymore?
Well, the building that sat right on the cliff area where the car is, there was a big building there, and it carried a lot of supplies.
That was the one that was like hanging over the cliff.
It hung right over the edge, and it got so bad it was just a hazard.
And nothing over here, huh? Like down in this?
No, this is about the same as it's always been. Other than the old flume line, you used to see it go across over by them rocks. And it's all fallen pretty much in the river, what's left of it.
Wah, wah.
Yeah, the restoration they done on that head frame was fantastic. They got it put back almost identical the way it was. I remember climbing clear up the top of that old big old bull wheel they had for the cable.
Huh.
I used to have to grease it.
Ooh, that was a jump. What'd you do it with?
Grease gun, big old grease gun. Ed Hughes had me go up there, but that only lasted a few months, and then they shut it down.
So when did you first come up to this mine? When
69's when I started.
1969.
Mm-hmm.
And he just said, "Hey, George, can you just go stay up there and make sure nobody gets on the property, or what?"
No, we were working up at the Golden Wonder.
Oh, and he owned that too?
He was contracting the mining up there, but he owned all this. But at that time, he didn't own the Golden Wonder. But we stayed here and worked at the Golden Wonder. So
that's a trek.
Yeah, it was about not quite a year, I guess.
And then when did you stop working up there and stay up here to just watch the place?
I think we were up here. Robert, he came up about 70, I think, 71. And we lived here even when we worked at the county.
Really?
We lived here a while. Not very long, but
in the winter?
Was nice.
In the winter?
Yeah, winter was beautiful up here. Beautiful.
Really? 1971.
Somewhere
and just
in there.
Kept the trespassers off and kept up with this
just
place.
A cheap place to stay.
Yeah.
It didn't cost us nothing back then.
Let's go look at it.
Okay.
I remember coming up here as a kid, and there were stuff left in here that looked like someone was just making dinner and just left it.
Oh, it was complete. beds. Then had a pretty nice restroom, kitchen, ice boxes.
Wow. How'd you get your water?
Well, we had a spring right here by this house that's had the generator. This had a generator in it to power electricity to the boarding house.
So this smaller shack had a generator in there.
Yeah, we'd have to come out at night and start it to have power.
Ooh.
But it was pretty nice to have all the conveniences we had.
No kidding. I bet that view out of that top floor was nice.
Yeah, that was all bedrooms up there. Each window was a separate bedroom.
Really?
Yep, that's how small. The real skinny bedrooms.
So
But
you
each
could.
one of them windows was a bedroom.
So the 6 here and the 3 here were
No.
all, or just these 6?
No, they were all bedrooms.
Really?
If you go up there, you can still. I think they've changed it up a little, taken the wall out or something. But
Wow.
they were all just for sleeping, nothing else. One bed in them.
Downstairs was like this, through this white door here. That was like you go into the kitchen.
That was the entryway to the kitchen.
Okay.
You went in the kitchen. And then this bigger open window here was the living room. And then the back one with the tin on it way back there that was another big bedroom. That was a master bedroom.
Oh,
That's
who
where
got to sleep there?
Ed Hughes, the
Oh,
owner.
the boss. Now tell me, there are some ghost stories about this place. Do you think this building is haunted?
Well, if it's haunted, it's a good haunt.
Okay.
Because I've heard a lot of different things happening when I was up there in bed. And nothing ever happened to us. We always survived. They were always good ghosts.
Did you think they were maybe mountain lions that sounded like
No,
ghosts?
we've heard mountain lions. I think your mother and I was up here one night, and we thought someone was killing some woman the way it was screaming.
Oh no.
We were out here, it had a nice deck right here on the front. We were out just sitting on the deck, and we heard a scream, and we swore it was a woman's scream.
But it was a mountain
And
lion.
later on, Ed told us, no, that's a mountain lion.
I believe that.
But
So there was a deck on this thing too?
Yeah, right out, see that timber?
Oh
That
man.
was all a nice wooden deck.
That's awesome.
We'd sit out there and drink our beer and watch the cars go by.
Were there a lot of cars?
Not back then, it wasn't too many. You'd get them now and then, and sometimes you never seen a car.
Busier now than then?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
In the summer.
Yeah.
Winter, it's about the same, pretty quiet.
How about these two over here beyond?
They were foremen, just for the working foremans at the mine. They had a nice little cabin of their own. These were,
okay.
Ed said, foreman cabin.
Okay. Did they have their family, you think? Or just
Yeah,
the guys?
I'm sure if they were married, they're nice enough to have I don't know about a bunch of kids, but
No.
wife and that could stay here.
How about, and that one's a foreman cabin
Yeah,
too?
they said the foreman stay in there
Okay.
for the mine and the mill foreman.
And I'm guessing by the way these look, they've had some restoration done on them too, huh?
Not much. I mean, they're about, the roofs were the main thing. The rest
Okay.
of it's pretty original from back when I first started staying here. And but they're well built. They were well built. You can tell by the big old logs that was in.
Yeah, and they're still standing. And this is, I guess this is obviously more than 100 years old.
Oh yeah, very much.
Obviously.
But
The water tower that we saw, or the water tanks, are just behind those trees, just to give some perspective.
and when I first started staying here, these trees, I bet they weren't 5-6 feet tall. Now they're
They're
grown up
massive.
and big time.
And this on the back of here, what do you think that was back there?
That was kind of just a little shed of storage.
Okay.
It was blocked off
Look
from
at how
part.
cute that little chimney
I think
is.
it was added on, several years after this cabin, like one of the Foreman's wanted a little more room for something. Maybe it was a bedroom. I'll
Yeah.
add on for a bedroom. I couldn't tell you
Could
that.
be anything else that used to be. Oh, I know. Look at way up there on that tailings.
That's
Hang
an
on.
old tailings dump from the waste ore that come out of the mine up there.
And then there's like some structure up there. Gary and I think hiked up there maybe.
Yeah, that's part of the mine that was up there. Portal,
Okay.
tunnel. We own all that now.
That's what I think we hiked up that way just last year maybe. Gosh, wouldn't you like to see a mountain sheep right now?
Yeah, and I used to see them up there quite a bit.
So this is the middle section down here, right? This is upper, this is middle
And
down here.
this metal building was added, probably in the, I guess after Ed Hughes bought this. This came from Perk Vickers.
Oh, really?
Ed Hughes bought it from Perk and had it brought up here, Vickers.
How the heck did they get that up here?
Come in pieces.
And what did he use it for? What did Ed use it for?
It's a mechanic's shed where the
Okay.
mechanics rebuilt the machines, and anything that needed rebuilt was done in there. And then that was part of the assay office.
So
The
this
roof
one
part.
down here.
And then that right there with the chimney on it, that was the main assay office.
So there are the chimneys. More than one chimney, huh?
Yeah, there used to be them cooking ovens in there, and it was complete. It had the bottles, the tube for the assaying, and everything they needed at one time. And people just started taking it piece by piece.
Do you think those pieces stayed in Lake City?
No, most of them,
No.
they went out for souvenirs or something.
Gotcha. So that was the assay office with the two brick. Where did those bricks come from, do you think?
I think a lot of them was probably from up by Capital City at the brick kilns and that up there.
Did they actually make bricks up there?
Yes.
They did.
I
Did
don't-
that kiln tump over?
They said the slide took it.
Oh, well, that's a bummer.
I don't know if they supposedly went up and rebuilt some of it, but some of it was beyond repair, I heard.
And do those bricks that were made up there, if you have a good one, do they actually say Lake City on them?
They say if you ever find one with Lake City, it's worth a lot of money.
Okay.
Some of them did have a Lake City on it. I've never
You haven't
found
seen
one,
one?
and I've handled hundreds of them.
Yeah. Now this building, this was the mill?
That the big old black building was the main mill. It's complete. Yeah, it's a complete mill. It could, if you cleaned it up and fired it up, it could be operated.
Now, when Matt Ingram and those guys were up here, they had that generator running, didn't they?
I don't know if they
they
ever
have it-
did. Ed Hughes had it running a lot. That big Buckeye
That's what I was thinking of.
It's a
And what did
big-
it run on?
diesel,
Diesel?
a big tank behind that metal building. You can't see it. There's a big, I think it's a 3,000, 5,000 gallon tank. Ran the diesel to run the Buckeye.
Is that thing loud?
No, that's what's surprising. It would just sit there, and the old pistons, you'd see them go up and down, and it was pretty quiet. I think the loudest thing was starting it because you had to start it with a generator or compressor. And then you got air built up and you got it turning over. And it was a very slow motion type engine.
Huh. And it's still in there, complete, huh?
Yep. The county's cleaned it up, had it cleaned up. And I haven't been in there since the county cleaned it up.
Yeah.
But
I
they
haven't been in
spent
there.
a lot of time in there.
How about this little window up on top? What was that area?
That's where the conveyor came from. There was a conveyor would come up on a belt, rubber belt with little cups on it. It had come from the crusher, and then it dropped into a ball mill in the main part of this mill here. Big old ball mill.
Now, where was the crusher, though?
It's right down there below. You can't see it. It's below that galvanized structure.
Okay.
So there was two, a double drum and a single drum crusher.
So the ore would come up on a conveyor belt in little cup things and then dump into the crusher,
No, into the ball mill.
into the ball mill.
Yeah.
And what is the ball mill?
It's where it carried them balls and it'd tumble all the ore and grind it up into fine powder. It was like graphite when they got done, just real fine. And then it went out to part of the mill where the classifiers, and it'd all get recycled. Anything that wasn't small enough to go through the classifier would be recycled back through the ball mill and get retumbled. It was a big ordeal.
What was the main mineral they were getting out?
Silver.
Silver, that's what they were going
They
for?
said it always carried enough gold. The gold they got out of the Ute-Ulay was always enough to pay for the milling and the shipping. But the silver was the main thing they were after. High-grade silver, some of it was, well, as rich as was ever found around the area.
And you know,
Galena.
When I'm a tour guide at the Hardtack mine, I say something like, this was the second largest producing silver mine in the state. Is
I
that
think that's true. I heard that. Between it and the hidden treasure, and it was pretty much combined. At one time, they were separate.
Now, did Ed ever mine this for silver?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so he had the Golden Wonder and this open at the same time?
Well, not at the same time, but right in the same. When the Golden Wonder shut down, they'd try to get this. They tried to run the ore out of the Golden Wonder through this mill.
Oh.
And it was pretty it wasn't cheap enough, or whatever you call it. Wasn't cost effective to run it. They ran a lot of tons from the Golden Wonder through this mill. But the mill was mainly built to run the Ute-Ulay ore. And all this ore you see up, all that rock out of them mines, that ore was run through this, not the waste ore on the dumps, but it was all transferred down here to the mill.
So all of that waste up there, which is the yellowish iron stain, that was just brought out of the hole and dumped around there. And then when they actually hit the silver vein, they would take that precious ore and they would transport it down here to the middle level for milling.
Right.
Okay. Okay. So lucky for us, they missed a few pieces of good ore up there.
Oh boy, a lot.
So that's a good
Brown,
thing.
the geologist that took care of all this area for geology, he said the Ute-Ulay hidden treasure is only 40% worked out. That means only 40% of the silver has been taken out. There's still
60% in there.
Still in these mines up here.
But it would be very expensive and super hard and dangerous.
With the environmental and the way you got to watch it, you couldn't hardly mine it or mill it.
Yeah.
Unless something bad happened where they just had to have it.
Yeah. Well, we'll leave it in there for Mama Earth, huh?
I like to go get a sample once in a while. I know where a lot of veins are.
I like to get a sample every once in a while, too. So this galvanized building...
That's where the Grizzly was. They called it a Grizzly.
The heck is a Grizzly?
Grizzly, they'd bring the ore out of the mine and dump it right in there. It's got bars along the bottom. They'd dump the ore come out of the mine, and if there's rocks too big, they'd hang up on the Grizzly. So the guy had to break them up and have to fall through the Grizzly.
Oh.
Or it'd jam up the ball mill, or not the ball mill, but the crushers.
So the Grizzly was like a sorter.
Yeah, it was a filter. It filtered big stuff, and you had to break it by hand. You had to get in there to double jack, break it up, and because if you let it go, it'd clog up everything. It'd bust the belts. So they always had a guy, the motorman, that brought the ore out, would dump it on the Grizzly, and if he had the rock that was broke up, from blasting, he would have to break it until that Grizzly was clean.
And we were talking about that conveyor belt, and it was in that like bridge looking thing.
Yep. Goes and it drops it down into a crusher.
Okay, into the
And the
crusher.
crushers grind it up fairly small, and then it went in these little cups or metal basket type things. There's a name, I don't know what. It'd go up on top of the mill and convey it down into the ball mill. And that's when it really got ground up fine.
And those are those big steel balls, those mill balls,
Looked
and
like
there would
cannonballs, but
and there would be a bunch of them in there spinning around.
all different sizes, from golf ball size up to bigger than a softball.
Crushing it.
And it just tumble all day, rotate.
Whew. And you just got to find powder. Now there is this famous outhouse over here. Was this in fact used for your duty?
Well, I'll tell you, it was used by me several times.
And why on earth did we put that thing right on the edge?
Well, you didn't have to move it very often. I don't think it got moved or filled up since it's been here. So it had about a 20-foot drop to the bottom.
Drop to the plop?
Mm-hmm.
Now, what's all this like? This, it's not track. It's a
Yeah, it is
piping.
track.
It is track.
Down here on top of this. That's where, when they come out of the mines, they'd bring the cars in there. They'd dump them.
The ore cars full of
The
ore.
ore cars would go over there, and then when they come back out, they could pull them in there and keep them in for the next day's trip back in. Just kind of a parking area.
So the ore cars came down full, and then the Grizzly would sort it. The Grizzly sorted it, and someone there would hammer it smaller if the Grizzly.
Yeah, if it had big boulders hanging up on the Grizzly, he had to take a double jack and just break it up.
And then it would go from the Grizzly to the conveyor belt.
To a conveyor down there, and then into the crusher.
Into the crusher. There.
A good millman, and that's what it took on this. A good millman with experience could run this by himself almost, other than dumping the cars.
Yeah.
But inside the mill, there's only like one man and maybe his helper, and they could run that whole setup.
That's good. That's cost effective.
Oh man, you had to know what you were doing. But I always heard 2 guys could operate this whole mill.
So this little building here, that's kind of the cars went in there and would just be out of the weather and stuff until the next day.
That, and if the mechanic or something had parts, they could dump it off in there, and then he'd get them later to work on if there's something heavy.
Yeah.
But it was probably not used that much. In my time, I never seen it used.
So we had a 20-foot drop to the plop right there with that little outhouse. Dad says it definitely was used plenty.
Oh yeah, by a minute. And it was almost air dried and freeze dried by the time it depends on the year you used it.
That's funny. And then the lower level, Dad, what was down on the lower level? The only thing I really see now is the wood framing up there from whatever that was. Did that hold water pipe?
That's where the flume come in.
Okay.
The flume from the dam and dumped down in there, and that went into the power plant. That was
okay.
With that rock wall down there, that was all the power plant.
Okay.
That generated electricity to power the turbine in the mill here.
Okay, that makes sense.
To run everything.
Oh.
They made their own power because, as you know, we still don't have power up here today.
We don't have power up here, but there is this. Yeah, there it is, the power line, the power pole, proving there was power up here at one point, but it wasn't coming from any plant. It was coming from this
their own power plant down there. And then they moved in the Buckeye.
Then they moved in that big generator, diesel generator. Was it easier than? Who knows?
It had to be more cost effective.
Yeah, than the hydroelectricity.
Diesel, you could get it for peanuts almost, 10 cents a gallon probably or less. And but That I know the power plant had. It wasn't even there when I first come up.
Oh,
They'd done away with it,
okay.
but the walls were all there. It was kind of complete. The big bull, the wheels, they were all there. And Ed Hughes, we worked for years stacking iron and taking it to his wrecking yard in Grand Junction.
Really?
He had a scrap yard, and most all that went to a scrap yard in Grand Junction.
Huh.
Big old wheels.
Wow.
It was a shame, but
You think they got recycled and made into something else?
yes,
Well,
they were cut up, and I even helped cut them up down there. That
That's-
was my weekend job sometime. Up here with a cutting torch, cutting the wheels, pipes, everything.
Huh.
And Ed had come up with a big truck or a semi, and he'd haul it to his wrecking yard in Grand Junction and Montrose.
wow. Now, when I was young, I remember there were huge piles of ore down there.
Yeah, the pyramid type pile that was there, that they, when they come in and do the reclamation and clean this up, there was a pile that just looked like a big pyramid,
Uh-huh.
and it was mainly zinc. And zinc back then was a product, a mineral that they really didn't like. It wasn't well, you didn't get paid a lot of money for it.
Yeah.
And then they found out the zinc, if you mixed it with processing the silver and the gold and that, it would help process it. And so they had to add a little bit each time to the mill. That's why it was down there saved.
Huh. Okay.
But anytime they hit a big pocket of zinc in the mine, instead of throwing it away like you see up there on them piles are full of zinc.
Okay.
They found out it was well, I guess whatever, it helped the milling.
Okay. So they would use it.
They used it little by little.
And then when the county, who got rid of, the county did the reclamation down here when
No,
they got
they
the property?
contracted it.
Okay.
Yeah, they had a outfit come in and done all the reclamation.
Got rid of all those piles, huh?
Oh yeah, they buried them, covered them with that good clean rock, they call it.
They did all the right
hate it,
things. But you know, we're starting to see some stuff grow back at that
Oh yeah,
the part further.
the tailings ponds looked like you could put a golf course there almost.
Yeah, so they did do good work.
Good job.
So where's the portal? It was down on the lower level, wasn't
Portal's
it?
right under us, right here.
Right under us.
Right here, you can almost see it, but
Boy, it's been, I mean, we've been underground there. Oh yeah, I remember. Okay.
there goes the tracks coming in.
Okay. So if you see the tracks right there, kind of making a turn towards the mountain, that's where the portal of the Ute-Ulay was. That was the main portal, Dad?
The main, yep, main haulage tunnel. This
And
is main haulage.
how many levels do you think this mine had?
I believe it's 7.
7?
7 different levels, top and bottom.
And
That was the blacksmith. All this is blacksmith.
all this was blacksmith. Okay.
All these buildings, and one, the very end one, was the dry room. That's where when you come out of the mine, you go down there and change, put on your go to town clothes. Go party.
Go to the red light district.
Yeah.
This, so 7 levels, this would be level 1?
This main level.
Okay.
Mhm.
Level 1.
You know, the original Ute-Ulay tunnel was over there across where that flume line is, that tower.
Okay.
There was a tunnel there, and they were
It's right
originally
through
going
there.
to go in that mountain over there.
Oh.
And they got over there, they had to deal with a lot of water. But then they went down and come across, and they found better ore on this side. So that's how they opened up all this. It was better ore here.
Okay.
And
Then
over
over there,
there.
and made it was a little easier too.
A lot easier.
So the hidden treasure is, what do we say, a mile or so from here down the road?
Hidden treasures. Excuse me. See that old building there?
Yes.
You go straight back, probably close to a mile, 3/4 mile, you'd be on the hidden treasure. Straight back that way.
Okay.
I don't know what, this is just part of the Ute-Ulay. I don't know, they might have had names or something for
Yeah.
these workings, but it's all part of the Ute-Ulay.
They were after the same
Same ore, same,
vein,
not
same.
the same vein, several different veins, but the same ore type, gold, silver. Some of it was richer than others, but there's a lot of different veins up here.
Okay.
So, like the California,
Uh-huh.
that was a vein they called California. Hidden Treasure, Ute-Ulay veins.
Oh, okay, those were
They
different
were all
veins.
names of
Tell me,
veins.
the California's kind of right in the middle, but who was working that one? Was it
It
the...
was a little small contractor
Okay.
part, and then I guess the Ute-Ulay purchased it
it?
later, and I don't know how
The Ute-Ulay ended up purchasing the Hidden Treasure,
they got
too?
it all.
They got it all.
Yep,
But initially it was owned by
they were
different people.
separate mining
Okay.
companies. And the Hidden Treasure probably had the highest grade ore ever produced in Hinsdale County, as far as silver percentage.
It was one of the harder ones to get to, though, right?
Yep, but they also run a shaft down like the one back there and connected with the Ute-Ulay. But it's a mile and a half back in the mountain here.
How far back have you been in the Ute-Ulay?
Probably a mile and a quarter,
Oh my gosh.
and it's a long ways but it was nice then, but I don't even think you could get a half a mile back there now.
Uh-huh. I
Does it-
remember going back as a kid and we just went to a powder room or a
Yeah,
door.
there's a air door back there.
Yeah.
And,
That's as far as you'd let us go.
yeah, because that's where the working started, and the ground was worse back there.
Uh-huh.
Anytime you get in the vein structure, the ground gets ratty, they call it,
Okay.
loose. So it was prone to caving in.
Ooh. Well,
We're done.
we walked through, didn't we? And
I'm tired.
I gotta say, Dad did a great job because he was just put on the spot to do this video. We didn't even prep you, did we? We just
Not
said,
at all. Surprise, surprise.
we said, come on, let's go do this. It's a beautiful day. We wanted to get the drone up and wanted to capture some of the history from someone who actually knows.
There ain't many of us left.
Yeah, you and Grant and I
Well,
don't know, maybe a couple others, old
that
timers.
actually lived here. And that Robert was here quite a bit. My brother,
Robert, we love him, don't we?
Yep, he's a good one.
How about Ronnie? Was he ever
Ronnie
here?
never was part of it. He stayed here a lot.
Oh, he just flopped?
He was a bummer.
He just bummed a
Yeah.
bed?
Bummed to bed. And we had about 10 of them. So
Well, is there anything else special about the Ute-Ulay that you want our Lake City Adventure viewers to know?
well, I miss it. We used to have fun, come up, and we'd take turns cooking. And when Dovey, Ed's wife, come, she could cook. She would come up and cook a full course meal. I mean, it was like a Thanksgiving, and we loved it when
Yeah, I'm sure you guys
Dovey
didn't cook
come.
like that.
Oh, we would eat hot dogs and canned spam and all
Oh,
kinds of
God,
stuff.
that sounds terrible. Dad, thank you for coming
Well,
along with us.
I hope I can make it a few more times.
And we love you. And
Love
thanks
you.
for letting me crack rocks and taking me underground
You're
here.
just getting started. You got a lot to go yet. We got a lot more rocks to
Yeah,
crack.
that's true. We'll crack a bunch of rocks. But I'll tell you, there aren't very many people that were lucky enough to go underground that are my
No,
age. So
No.
hopefully we have some good drone shots too, huh?
Oh,
And we can give our fans some real nice shots.
I hope so, because it's cold out here. And
Dad's ready. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye. Goes. That's how they were like, oh, there may be some precious metal in
Yeah.
here. And you can see it's just a seam.
Sometimes that seam carried the highest grade ore in any mine. That's what the old prospectors look for.
Pretty cool to see it just from here. There is the drone pilot. Oh, it's so windy.